Did anyone ever really tell you what turning 80 feels like? Not just the birthdays or the doctor's visits, but the quiet, unexpected shifts that show up when no one's looking. You've lived through decades of change, loved deeply, weathered loss, and built resilience that younger generations can't yet understand. But even with all that strength, something changes after 80, and it catches most people off guard. This video isn't about fear, it's about honesty. We're diving into 5 harsh, often overlooked realities that begin to emerge after your 80th birthday. Truths that aren't usually found in health brochures or talked about openly at family dinners. These are the moments when the phone rings less, the body doesn't quite cooperate like it used to, and the world seems to move on without asking if you're still keeping pace. But here's why this matters. Acknowledging these realities doesn't make you weak. In fact, it's the opposite. Recognizing what's happening is the first step toward reclaiming control, purpose, and inner peace. Whether you're 80 already or approaching it, or you're supporting a loved one through this stage, this conversation is for you. These aren't just facts of aging, they're lived experiences that deserve to be seen, heard, and respected. So stay with us. The insights ahead may be hard to hear, but they might also bring clarity, comfort, and even empowerment. Because after all, aging isn't about fading away. It's about discovering what truly matters when the noise begins to quiet. Let's begin. 1. The shrinking world of social connection. One of the most unexpected shifts after turning 80 isn't about your physical health. It's the gradual quieting of your social world. Longtime friends move away, face their own health challenges, or pass on. Family members get caught up in their careers, parenting, or life's endless to-do lists. And even if you were never someone who needed a packed calendar, the silence that creeps in can still feel heavier than expected. You might still get a birthday card, a quick call, or an occasional visit, but the frequency, the spontaneity, the laughter-filled Sunday lunches, they start to fade. It's not necessarily because people don't care. It's because life moves fast. And sadly, our society doesn't always make room for its elders in the way it should. In American culture, so focused on productivity and youth, we often overlook the emotional importance of presence. For seniors over 80, this absence can quietly shape daily life. You begin spending more hours alone, with fewer shared experiences to look forward to. Even the simplest routines, like morning coffee chats with a neighbor or church gatherings, may become rare or too exhausting to attend. But here's the nuance. This isn't about feeling sorry for ourselves. It's about naming a very real human experience. When social circles shrink, it's not just about losing contact. It's about losing pieces of your identity that were reflected in those relationships. You might find yourself replaying old conversations in your mind, not just from longing, but to keep those moments alive. It's memory as connection, not nostalgia. And that's a powerful act of resilience. So what can we do? Start small. Instead of focusing on who's not reaching out, think about one person you can check in with. Send a postcard, make a 5-minute call, join a virtual discussion group, or attend a local senior center's event, even if it's just once a week. Even digital spaces like Zoom meetups or Facebook communities for seniors can offer real connection, especially when mobility becomes limited. Also, don't underestimate the power of intergenerational relationships. A brief chat with a grandchild, a friendly neighbor, or even a caregiver can bring new light into your day. What matters isn't the number of people around you, but the depth and sincerity of the connections that remain. And perhaps most importantly, stay emotionally connected to yourself. Reflect on your journey. Journal. Revisit your favorite music or photographs. Because while the crowd may thin, your life's meaning doesn't have to. In fact, when fewer voices are around, your own voice becomes more essential than ever. This stage of life isn't about loneliness. It's about intentional connection. The kind that doesn't come and go with trends, but stands the test of time, memory, and heart. So yes, your world may feel smaller after 80, but with awareness, intention, and a little creativity, it can still be deeply full. 2. When small health issues become big ones. If you've made it into your 80s, chances are you've learned to roll with a few punches. But one of the biggest surprises for many older adults is how minor health issues, things that used to be easily shaken off, can now spiral into something far more serious. A cold that once lasted 3 days now lingers for 2 weeks. A bruise from bumping into the edge of a table doesn't fade after a few days. It hangs around like an unwelcome guest. A skipped meal, forgotten dose of water, or a restless night of sleep can now throw your whole system into imbalance. And this shift happens quietly. It's not like flipping a switch at 80. It sneaks in gradually, making everyday routines feel a little more fragile and recovery a lot more drawn out. What's really at play here isn't just age, it's the body's reduced ability to bounce back. As we grow older, our systems become less resilient. Our immune response slows down. Healing takes longer. Even the muscles we once relied on to steady ourselves grow weaker, especially if we've had to cut back on physical activity. But here's what most people don't talk about. This isn't just a physical shift. It's an emotional one too. There's frustration that comes with realizing the body no longer cooperates like it once did. For many of us who've taken pride in being independent and capable, it can feel like a betrayal. You used to mow the lawn, drive cross-country, or juggle a week's worth of errands. And now standing up too quickly makes your knees feel uncertain. But recognizing this isn't defeat, it's wisdom. By tuning into these new limits, you gain power. You learn to work with your body, not against it. You build new rhythms that honor what's changed without giving up on what you still want to do. You drink more water. You say yes to that nap. You go see the doctor, not because something's broken, but because you want to stay a step ahead. This stage of life isn't about pushing through. It's about moving forward smarter. It's also about shifting your mindset. Instead of viewing slower recovery as weakness, view it as a signal. Your body is talking to you, not yelling, but whispering. And when we take the time to listen, we can respond with care rather than frustration. So the next time a seemingly small health issue pops up, don't brush it off, but don't panic either. Instead, treat it with the attention it deserves. Monitor it, rest, ask for help if needed. Because now more than ever, preserving your energy and well-being is an act of courage and self-respect. And remember, it's not about being unbreakable, it's about becoming unshakable in how you care for yourself. 3. Losing your presence in social spaces. One of the most painful and often unspoken realities of growing older is the gradual fading of your presence in the public eye. After 80, many people find that they're not seen in quite the same way anymore. Not just physically, but emotionally and socially too. You may walk into a room only to realize the conversation doesn't pause for you like it once did. You speak up, but sometimes others talk over you, not out of disrespect, but because they assume you're finished or don't realize you're still speaking. Even among family, it can feel like your voice is less central, your story's less invited. This isn't just about being ignored, it's about visibility, the kind of social acknowledgement that makes you feel present, valuable, and human. In American culture, where speed and youth often steal the spotlight, elders are too often pushed to the sidelines. Not maliciously, but subtly, through habits, assumptions, and distractions. As technology accelerates and attention spans shrink, those who carry decades of wisdom are sometimes mistaken for being out of touch, rather than honored as bearers of perspective and depth. But here's the truth. Your presence is still powerful, even if the world doesn't always recognize it right away. You've lived through eras of history, raised families, held communities together, and navigated loss with grace. That kind of lived experience doesn't fade just because others forget to pause and listen. Yes, it can be disheartening. There's a quiet grief in being overlooked, especially when you still have so much to share. But there's also power in reclaiming your space, on your terms. Start with confidence in your own story. Share it anyway. Speak your mind, even if it takes an extra breath to finish the thought. Whether it's a memory at the dinner table or a comment in a book club, your words matter. And the people worth having around will slow down and listen. Another way to stay visible is to stay involved. Volunteer at your local library, mentor a young adult, or take part in community events. Even if it's just attending a town hall meeting or a church potluck, Your presence adds value and reminds others that wisdom doesn't age out. You may also find comfort in being present for yourself. Write your stories down. Record videos for your grandchildren. Start a memoir, not for publishing, but for preserving your legacy. And remember this, being overlooked by some does not diminish your worth. Your dignity, insight, and humor are intact. Sometimes the most commanding presence is the one that doesn't demand attention, but offers it. So don't retreat. The world may not always hand you the microphone, but that doesn't mean your voice shouldn't be heard. You are still here, and you still have something to say. 4. When daily life begins to shrink. As we move deeper into our 80s, one of the more subtle and often emotional changes we face is the gradual narrowing of daily life. It doesn't happen all at once, but little by little, the familiar routines, places, and people that once shaped our days begin to fade or fall away. You may notice that your weekly grocery run turns into a monthly trip, or that your morning walks become shorter. Not because you've lost interest, but because everything just takes a bit more effort. Driving long distances may no longer feel safe. Cold weather keeps you indoors. And even when you want to attend a community event or visit a friend, it often feels like there are more barriers than there used to be. And then there are the changes in the world around you. A favorite cafe closes, a longtime neighbor moves into assisted living, a friend stops calling, not out of malice, but perhaps because they too are navigating their own shrinking world. Suddenly you find yourself surrounded by more silence, more stillness, and fewer opportunities to feel fully engaged with life outside your front door. This shift can be unsettling. It's not just about logistics, it's about identity. When the spaces we once occupied begin to disappear, it can feel like we're disappearing too. But here's the powerful truth. A smaller world does not mean a smaller life. There is richness to be found in quiet moments, in deeper conversations, in meaningful memories. You don't need a packed schedule to feel alive. You need connection, purpose, and a sense of belonging, even if it's within the walls of your home. That may mean calling a friend every Wednesday just to hear their voice. It might be writing handwritten letters to a grandchild or joining a virtual book club from your tablet. Maybe it's something as simple as tending to your garden or finally sorting through those old photographs and reliving the stories they hold. Even a short stroll to the mailbox, if done with intention and presence, becomes an act of vitality. You might also consider inviting new routines into your space. Start a morning ritual, like reading the newspaper with a cup of tea, or keep a daily journal. These small practices help ground your days with rhythm and meaning, even when the outside world feels more distant. Remember, a narrowed schedule does not define the size of your spirit. If anything, this phase of life invites you to go deeper, not wider, to invest in relationships that matter, to savor the quiet joys, and to appreciate life not for how much it gives, but for how deeply you feel it. So if your world feels smaller than it used to be, don't let it make you smaller. Instead, reshape it, gently, purposefully, and in a way that still feels fully yours. 5. When your body becomes unpredictable. One of the more frustrating realities of life after 80 is how unpredictable the body becomes. You can go to bed feeling fine and wake up the next morning with aching knees, a stiff back, or dizzy spells that seem to appear out of nowhere. One day you have the energy to go for a walk or clean out the closet. The next you're winded just getting out of your favorite chair. This inconsistency can be unsettling. It's not always tied to a medical condition. Sometimes your body simply doesn't cooperate, no matter how carefully you've managed your health. And that unpredictability can take a toll not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Many older adults describe this stage as a kind of betrayal. I've lived in this body for decades. I've trusted it, depended on it. Now I don't know what to expect. That uncertainty can lead to hesitation, canceling outings just in case you're not feeling well, second-guessing errands, or skipping social events because you're unsure how your body will hold up in public. But while this shift can feel discouraging, it doesn't have to be disempowering. The key lies in developing a new kind of relationship with your body, one rooted in awareness rather than frustration. That might mean building in more flexibility to your schedule, giving yourself permission to rest without guilt, or becoming more in tune with subtle warning signs your body gives before it needs a break. In practical terms, this could look like pacing yourself more deliberately, choosing shorter walks, taking seated breaks while cooking, or breaking chores into small, manageable tasks. You may also need to rethink your morning routine, maybe starting the day with some gentle stretches or breathing exercises to assess how you're feeling before committing to plans. Staying ahead of this unpredictability also means being proactive with your healthcare. Routine checkups, regular hydration, proper nutrition, and careful medication management become even more important. Keeping a health journal to track symptoms or fluctuations in energy can help you and your doctor better understand patterns and allow you to make small adjustments before a minor issue becomes a major one. And don't underestimate the emotional strength it takes to accept this version of your body with grace. Aging isn't about giving up. It's about adapting with wisdom. You may not always be in control of how you feel, but you are absolutely in control of how you respond. The truth is, after 80, your body might be a little unpredictable, but you're not starting from scratch. You've already lived a full lifetime of learning, adjusting, and overcoming. This is just one more chapter, one that calls not for perfection, but for patience, compassion, and flexibility. So yes, your steps might be slower, your grip less steady, but your presence, your perspective, and your ability to adapt, those are as strong as ever. As we've explored these 5 often overlooked realities of life after age 80, one message rings clear. Aging isn't simply about decline, it's about transformation. Yes, the world may grow quieter, your body may surprise you, friendships may thin, but these changes don't mean you're fading. They mean you're shifting into a different kind of strength, one rooted in awareness, reflection, and resilience. By naming these truths, social withdrawal, slower healing, feeling invisible, shrinking routines, and physical unpredictability, we take back something powerful: ownership. You're no longer just reacting to what aging throws your way. You're responding with wisdom, clarity, and care. And you are not alone. Thousands of people across the country are walking this same path, navigating these changes day by day just like you. So whether you're living these experiences firsthand or supporting someone who is, remember, your voice matters, your perspective is valuable, and your story still holds weight. If today's video resonated with you, take a moment to reflect. What reality hit closest to home? Was there something you recognized from your own life, or perhaps from a loved one's journey? We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Share one thing you're going to do differently after watching this. Maybe it's reaching out to an old friend, being gentler with your body, or simply acknowledging a feeling you've kept quiet for too long. And if this video helped you feel seen, encouraged, or understood, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it too. Your support helps keep these conversations going and helps remind others that even in life's quieter seasons, they are never truly alone. Thank you for spending this time with us. Stay well, stay connected, and keep showing up just as you are.